So let's everyone condition ourselves. So let's sit comfortably in any posture of your choice. Just
Mm-hmm.
try to keep your spine erect
Mm-hmm.
and bring your awareness into your body and just become aware of your breath as you breathe in, as you breathe out. Notice the movement of your body. If there's any stress anywhere, any tension, just breathe into it. Gradually scan your body from your toes, knees, thighs, groin, abdomen, back, hands, shoulders, neck, head. The entire body, just relax it and completely surrender yourself to this moment. If there's any resistance, notice that too. Take a deep breath in, exhale, take another deep breath in, and with a gentle smile on your lips, gently rub your palm and cup your eyes. And I'm feeling a little less stressed now, so I'm good to go.
Namaste. I really, I
Namaste.
really, I really miss that. So, Ajay, for those people who don't know you, and while the rest of the people get connected, hi Shelly. How you went from a chartered accountant to yoga sutras, yoga teacher, psychologist, mindfulness coach? Uh, Explain a little bit, please.
Uh, so I've written a book. My first chapter is about my life story. It's quite interesting. But to give you a brief about that, I was always interested in spirituality right since childhood. You know, those metaphysical questions we have: who am I? What is the purpose of life? I think
Mm-hmm.
I always had it like a seed in me, but I
Mm-hmm.
never explored it because entire schooling was only around education, trying to come first. No one really spoke about any spirituality. So when I first came across anything spiritual, I was in my 20s, and that's the time when I became a chartered accountant. And uh, and actually, my life split into two. You know, one part of me was the accountant, another part of me was the spiritual seeker. And I found seeking and spirituality very interesting, and accountancy very boring. And I'm not even a good accountant. So then I had to find a way to merge my interests. So it's been a
Yeah.
long journey from accountancy. Then I tried to be a corporate trainer. I wasn't very successful at that. I think corporate training, the way I did it was, it really has not much to do with human behavior.
Yes.
And then I got into organizational consulting, and then finally 5 years back I got into yoga in a very focused manner. I also completed my master's in psychology, and then since last 5 years, I've been teaching yoga philosophy. I've been conducting workshops,
Yeah.
and basically, I'm just being myself. I think it doesn't take me effort to do what I do because now this comes very authentically, very
Yeah.
naturally, very easily for me. So that's my journey in short.
Yeah.
It took a long while to achieve this, but I'm happy I got here.
Yeah, actually, I think this brand exists because of you, because you pass us like this love for yoga when we met you at the Yoga Institute in the 21 days for a better living course, which gives you a wide perspective on yoga. Like yoga is not just physical exercise; yoga is much more.
True.
So yeah,
And I think the credit also goes to the Yoga Institute, because the Yoga Institute teaches yoga not just as a physical exercise, but a holistic science of living. And the core of that is, of course, the philosophy of yoga, and that is imbibed in essentially the Yoga Sutras. So
exactly.
I think, yes, credit and gratitude to the Yoga Institute for carrying on
Yeah.
that purity of tradition. Yeah.
Absolutely. So coming to that philosophical aspect, coming to the Yoga Sutra, but also because we love your classes because your approach to Yoga Sutras is very pragmatical. It's like, okay, this is the philosophical aspect, but how can we apply that to our life? So one of the questions we got from Shweta Suhani, for example, is where do we start if we want to study Yoga Sutras or we want to start applying something to our life from Yoga Sutra?
Okay, so the first answer to that is, don't start with the Yoga Sutra. Don't even start with yoga. Start with yourself. Examine your life, what's happening in my life right now. And the best place to start is to examine where is your life conflicted.
Mm-hmm.
Because conflict is the zone where you can grow.
Okay.
Otherwise, you may read the Yoga Sutra and it's like another textbook or another philosophical book, but nothing really changes for you. So
Yeah.
the first and the most important thing is examine your life. Now, are you having a conflict around your work? Are you having a conflict around your relationships? Are you having any kind of impulse control behavior which you can't control? Are you having difficulty in terms of managing your anxiety? So you need to figure out, where is the difficulty in my life,
Hmm.
because eventually the goal of spirituality or goal of higher living is to resolve your inner
Exactly.
conflict and to get you into peace and harmony. So that, I would say, is the first thing. So don't assume that the Yoga Sutra, by reading the Yoga Sutra, you're
Hmm.
going to get answers to your life. You will get answers to your life when you become self-aware and introspective. The second thing is, if you want to start reading the Yoga Sutra or the Bhagavad Gita or any other spiritual scripture, I would recommend that you create a discipline around how you're going to do it. Now,
Hmm.
that discipline means you read for maybe 15 minutes every day, maybe you would read
Yeah.
for half an hour every day, but go in a structured manner, not like haphazardly.
Hmm.
If you can join the classes, then that's good. Personally, I think, because I started teaching Yoga Sutra at the Yoga Institute,
Yeah.
so every Saturday I had to prepare myself, I had to read what I'm going to. So it became a discipline for the last four,
Hmm.
5 years, that I
Hmm.
was constantly reading.
Yes.
So these are the two things I would say. Examine your life, what's happening in my life, and then when you are studying the Yoga Sutra, have a discipline around studying it and try
Yes.
to correlate what the sutra is saying with my life. So
Hmm.
don't try to make it an academic exercise.
Yeah, like how, what can we apply from the sutra to our life, to the conflicts we have identified first, as you said.
Correct, very true. So then the sutra becomes alive.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it's
Hmm.
just dry philosophy. It has really no meaning.
Yeah. Okay. So, by the way, this we wanted this to be an interactive session, more like a questions and answers. So, if someone is struggling with some Yoga Sutra, or they want to discuss any particular Yoga Sutra, please, as I said, write in the comments.
Yeah.
But also this session will be recorded, so we want to give some insights for the people starting with Yoga Sutras, or a first touch or first contact with the Yoga Sutra. So if you can explain on that,
So
or what do you think?
I'll talk a little bit about the background, the history of yoga, the Yoga Sutra. So it creates somewhat context about Yoga Sutra.
Hmm.
So now yoga has become in the modern world very synonymous with asanas, basically.
Yes.
Thanks to the Western world, where everything which is physical, which is commercial, becomes blown out of proportion,
Hmm.
which is really sad. But yoga is really the science of first managing your mind and second transcending your mind. I think these are the two things which yoga does. So the first mention of yoga goes back maybe 5,000 years back. They
Hmm.
say this is the eternal wisdom,
Yes.
Sanatan Dharma. So nobody really knows where this began, but the first instance of yoga is recorded in the Rig Veda,
Uh-huh.
which is one of the oldest scriptures. And thereafter, yoga has been mentioned in various Hindu scriptures like the Bhagavad Gita, um, uh, mentions yoga, bhakti yoga, karma yoga,
Yes.
jnana yoga. And uh, uh, the first time, so all this entire knowledge was a oral tradition which has been passed on from guru to shishya, which means through
Yes.
through the disciple and the master. So
Hmm.
nothing was really written, that nothing was really codified. So
Hmm.
the first time somebody codified this knowledge, got this together, was about 2500 or 2300 years back,
Hmm.
by the name of sage Maharishi Patanjali,
Hmm.
who wrote the Yoga Sutras. So it's the first treatise of yoga, which comprises of 195 aphorisms divided into 4 chapters. And that, in many ways, is the Bible of yoga. So if you go to any authentic school of yoga,
Hmm.
not a yoga studio,
Yeah.
they will refer to the Yoga Sutras.
Hmm.
So the Yoga Sutras is like a key reference point which holds together this whole wisdom of yoga.
Yeah.
Now, talking of Yoga Sutras, um, like I mentioned, it's divided into 4 chapters. The
Yes.
first chapter is called Samadhi
Samadhi
Path,
Panda. Yes.
then Sadhana Path, Vibhuti Path, and Kaivalya. So these are
Yeah.
the 4 chapters. Altogether, 995 aphorisms. An aphorism is like a sutra, which is essentially made up of maybe 6, 7 words on an
Yeah.
average. So the whole book is in Sanskrit. And it's really giving the technology of how yoga can be practiced and applied for liberation.
Hmm.
And I think the first 3 sutras literally they give the context of what. And whenever I explain the Yoga Sutras, the first 3 sutras gives the context of what this book is about.
Yeah.
And the first sutra, which is Sutra 1.1, which is chapter 1, Sutra 1, says Atha Yoga
Okay.
Anushasana, which means now begins the discipline of yoga. Now, if you look at each word, it has great meaning. Means now you are ready for yoga.
Hmm.
And the other word in the first sutra is Anushasana, which means it is something that you impose. It's a discipline you impose on yourself. No one is forcing you to impose a discipline.
Huh.
Shashan means like your parents tell you what to do, your teachers tell you what to do, your
Yes.
bosses tell you what to do, your boyfriend, girlfriend tells you what to do, your spouse
So true.
tells you. But in yoga, no one is telling you what to do. So you
Yeah.
have to, whatever you need to do, you need to do it yourself. So quite often I feel a person coming to yoga or any kind of spiritual practice must have a good amount of experience in the world. And
Hmm.
he should have tried all his hand at trying to get pleasure and happiness through the world and failed, and then he is ready for yoga.
Hmm.
And I quite often give the example. It's like discipline comes only through your own personal experience. Like as a child, if your parents tell you that don't put your finger in the fire,
Hmm.
you may probably not put your finger in the fire because you're scared. What your parents will do, they may punish you. But the day your parents go out and there is nobody to tell you to do anything, and you decide to put your finger in the fire, after that day you will never put your finger in the fire.
Hmm.
That was the last time. So this is discipline which you have gained through your own experience. No one is forcing on you, and that is Anushasana.
Hmm.
The second sutra is Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha,
Yeah.
which means yoga is stopping the fluctuations of the mind. This mind of ours is like a crazy
Hmm.
neurotic machine, constantly throwing thoughts. We get 60,000 to 80,000
Hmm.
thoughts in a day, and we have no control over this mind of ours. So if I say like, okay, lift your right hand. Okay, so everyone who's watching, we have 14 viewers. So
Yeah.
let's do this exercise. Lift
Okay.
your right hand
Right hand.
and now bring your right hand down. So this means that your right hand listens to you,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
When you tell your right hand to go up, go down, it listens to you. So now I'll give you a simple instruction, and the instruction is stop thinking. So which means your mind, your mind doesn't listen to you.
Yeah.
And then we say I have freedom, I have willpower, I can make choices, I'm the master of my. But how can you be the master of your destiny when this mind is not in your control? When you don't know what thought is going to come, how it's going to make you feel, what it's going to make you do, which means our life is really not in our control. It is all subconscious, unconscious programming. So when this mind we are able to train, when we are able to have control over our thinking process, or when that can subside, then our true self is revealed. Then that's the third sutra, tada drashtu swarupe avasthana, which means then your true self is revealed, your who you are, your pure consciousness. So that is the whole essence of yoga. To find your true self. We believe that I am this person, individual, made up of, this body and the name I have and the gender and the roles and all of that. But perhaps our true identity is also beyond all of this, which is just awareness, which is just consciousness, which are just words, which are just labels I'm giving. But it's something for you to experience. And that's the whole journey and science of yoga.
Actually, Ajay, this is very connected with mindfulness, I guess. Actually, you are conducting right now mindful living classes. What's the connection between this and mindfulness, which is now very
So
like people
the thing is, there are so many words. One of the things that problem with spirituality is filled with words. Now, spirituality is a word; it has so many connotations. Yoga is a word; it has so many connotations. God is a word; it has so many connotations. Mindfulness, meditation, awareness, consciousness, being, presence, words, 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 words. So people tend to get lost. But if you really ask me, yoga is nothing but yoga is mindfulness. Yoga is the whole practice of yoga is to be present in the moment. The whole practice of yoga is to be able to be conscious of what's happening in my life right now. That is the whole practice of yoga, and to make conscious choices which are beneficial for my personal growth. That's a part of mindfulness. That's a part of consciousness. So essentially, I don't really see yoga and mindfulness as separate. They're the same thing. I don't really see them as separate. At least if you look at yoga from a classical perspective, not just a physical asana perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Priyakatra, hello. Jayat Begita, true. Any questions so far? Anything that the people listening there want to ask? Any special sutra or question? Because I would like you.
We have a question. Okay, it's great to feel as if I'm back in the institute attending the Yoga Sutra class, and each time I understand something new about the same sutra. Okay, that's Shweta who's written that.
Nihalani, yes. Great, yeah.
Okay.
So I have, for example, because you spoke about the experiencing, that you need to have experience, maybe have enough experience to go to that spiritual or that the personal development life. So that reminds me one of my favorite sutras, which is 2.18 about Boga Apavarga. So if you can explain a little bit on that, or if you want me to read the sutra first, I don't know.
Yeah, that would be good. You can read the sutra and the translation, and then I can talk about it.
Okay, so I will go. So it's you correct me because you're Yoga Sutra teacher. You correct me if I do mistake, please, because my Sanskrit is not so good. Prakasha Kriya Stiti Shilam Bhutendriyatmakam Boga Apavarga Artam Drishyam, which it's what awareness regards, namely the phenomenal world, like the material world, embodies the qualities of luminosity or light, activity and inertia. They are speaking about the three gunas. It includes oneself, composed of both elements and the senses, all the elements and the senses, and it's the ground for both sensual experience and liberation. Boga apavarga. That's the literal translation, but
Yeah. So essentially, what this sutra is saying uh, that if you really look at life experience, it's nothing but, if I were to simplify it, matter or the five elements interacting with your sense perception. And all your experience can just boil down to only this, which means matter engaging with your sense perception is creating experiences. And the variety of experiences, food experiences, sensory experiences, emotional experiences. But life is nothing but a series of experiences. So if you really look at it, there's nothing special in life other than experiences you're having from childhood to now, right?
yes,
Different kinds of experiences.
totally.
So this sutra is essentially saying that what's the purpose of experience, that you're having, variety of experiences. Maybe as a child you were very attached to your to playing maybe
Yeah.
cricket. Maybe the girls get attached to playing with dolls, and then maybe as you grow, your desire is to, perhaps when you go to college, then you want to have a boyfriend and a girlfriend. Now that's another
Yeah.
another experience. Then you want to get a good job, and that's another experience. Get married, that's another experience.
Yes.
So variety of experiences that are happening, but what is the purpose of all these experiences? Because eventually you're going to, this body is going to uh, grow old and it
Yeah.
will go away. So what's the purpose? So this sutra is essentially saying that the purpose of this experience, and the word that is used for this is bhoga, which
Boga.
means to experience the world. The whole purpose is to outgrow experience, which essentially means you get tired. Maybe you had a great desire. So if I were to give from my own example, once upon a time I used to be a big movie buff. I would watch movies every week, sometimes almost every alternate day on the
Oh.
laptop, and I think since the last 2 3 years, I may have just seen maybe three odd movies, or and that too because somebody invited me and I went. It's just like that desire to see movies is not there as much as I had to. Perhaps now I have outgrown that experience. I don't really see the need for that experience. So the purpose of all experience is for you to outgrow it. And which is what, coming back to what I was saying in the beginning, which is it is good to have some experience before you come to spirituality or before you come to yoga, because quite often if you don't have had an experience in life,
Yeah.
then whatever you imbibe is very intellectual. It is very conceptual, because you really have no experience of maybe a relationship. You have no experience of being on your own. You have no experience of what it means to be totally vulnerable. If you're living this protected life and you have not really had experiences there, then uh, then whatever you may be listening is very bookish, and is you're just absorbing it just because some authority is saying it. It will not click for you. It will click for you when you have some experiences in life. Like I gave the example of the fire. Once you put your finger in the fire, you'll know this is bad for me.
Yeah.
So then it will click for you that the purpose of
True.
this experience is not really helping me. So
True.
that's how it is.
Okay, true. Thank you. We are getting some questions, so I will read it for you, Ajay. Also,
Yeah.
for the people who is joining right now or recently, to situate them, welcome. We are with Ajay Kalra. He's a yoga teacher, personal mindfulness coach. He has been teaching Yoga Sutras for 5 years and, in the Yoga Institute, coordinating the 21 Days for a Better Living. And we are on Yoga Sutras. And where was the question? Someone was asking, what's the relationship of asanas in the Yoga Sutras? If Patanjali, one second, where is it? Yes. If Maharshi Patanjali never spoke about asana postures, then how come we use? Bujika
So,
Krabarte.
so Patanjali doesn't speak about different kind of asana postures, but there are three sutras in the Yoga Sutra out of 195 which speak about asanas. So, among the eightfold path of yoga, I think it's important that I talk about the eightfold path of
Yes.
yoga because that is the essence, the Ashtanga Yoga, which is for beginners. So the first is yama, which is social observances, ethical behavior, be honest, be non-violent, don't be greedy, all those things that your parents told you but never followed themselves. That's the yamas. Uh, then come the niyamas. Niyamas are the personal observances. These are the things that you should do. Sat, santosh, tat, swadhyaya, ishwar pranidhan, which is cleanliness, contentment, discipline, self-inquiry, and faith in a higher reality.
Yeah.
Then comes asana. So you're first working with behavior, which is yam and niyam. Then you're working with your body, which is asana. Then you're working with your breath, which is pranayam. And then you're working with your senses, the five senses, which is pratyahar, conserving the energy. Then dharana, dhyan, and samadhi, which is then you are ready. Then your mind can get focused. Then your mind can get concentrated. So that sets the foundation. The yam, the niyam, asana, pranayam, pratyahar. So that sets the foundation. So there is a mention of asana, and it says basically stiram sukham asana, which means a posture in which you are steady and where you're comfortable. That is an asana. And the purpose of asana from a yoga perspective is eventually for you to be able to make your body supple and strong so you can sit still in a meditative posture for very long, because the end goal of yoga is dharana, dhyan, samadhi. But of course, asana has so many other physiological, psychological benefits as well. So, yes, so there is a mention of asana, but all these postures, the different variety of postures, they came out much later. It's not that the sutras are mentioning different kind of postures, but the asana, the physical aspect, is definitely mentioned there.
Yeah. Thank you, Ajay. We have another question from Macrats14. How
Yeah.
are things different for an ADHD mind? I don't know what's the meaning of ADHD mind, but maybe you know, I don't know.
ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. That
Yeah,
is
yeah,
ADHD.
you are the psychologist, you know. You know.
Thanks to my psychology, I know these. So, so I can answer that in two ways. Okay, as far as how is things different from an ADHD mind. So, so let me see the first way. So the first way is perhaps maybe some minds uh, have some kind of a differentiating process, which means they're very hyper, they're very active. ADHD is basically a person who is not able to be still, who is constantly in the state of movement, hyperactivity.
Would it be
Um,
sorry? Would it be a Xipta mind in yoga terminology? Xipta or Ajay? We have some. We lost you for some seconds, Ajay.
yeah.
So if you
So, okay. So, so I would not really associate those with ADHD, because I'm looking at ADHD from a
connection. Yeah, again
okay.
the connection. This is the things of live connections that we lost you.
Yeah,
We lost you again for some seconds. You were saying you wouldn't associate that with an ADHD mind,
yeah,
and they
yeah.
were explaining that.
Yeah, so talking about that, so yes, so these are disorders which are classified um, under a certain manual of psychology. So they need some kind of treatment, and perhaps maybe some medication is also required. Having said that, I think on the whole, a lot of children, I think, are being labeled as, their attention span is not, is very limited. But I think a lot has to do with our culture, because our culture is not able to tap into the attention of children. You may you if you channelize that energy in a certain direction, that
Yes.
hyperactivity, then perhaps then that can find a movement, it can find a channelization. And also, if there is some kind of a training process for the mind, maybe just watching the breath, maybe just some kind of a stillness practice, then that can help also. So I think yoga can be very great, extraordinarily helpful for managing attention deficit. And really speaking, in all ways, I think we all have attention deficit problem, whether we call it a disorder or not, because
Yeah.
our attention spans are so limited. We may not be classified as ADHD, but
Yeah.
we almost everyone has an attention deficit disorder, in the sense constantly we are going onto social
Yeah.
media, linking something impulsive. So, so with the practice of yoga, the mind begins to settle down gradually and slowly. So that's how I would answer that question. Yeah.
Good. Okay, we are going. More questions from our audience. I'm checking. Otherwise, Ajay, what do you think we can go a little bit in the Vairagya, in the detachment sutras, which is now like a hot topic also, and people is talking a lot, and there are also some misconceptions sometimes about what is detachment or how to practice detachment in real life. So yeah, I was thinking about
Well,
yeah.
uh, so I'll say something which may seem very radical. So the first thing is, you cannot practice detachment.
Hmm.
It is not something you can say, okay, I'm going to get detached now from my family or from sensory pleasures. If I were to give you an analogy, when the fruit is ripe, it will fall on its own. It
Hmm.
doesn't need to detach. It will detach because now it is ripe. Until it's not ripe,
Hmm.
it will not detach.
Hmm.
So you need to focus on what is giving you pain in your life and bring discipline around that.
Hmm.
And that's one way you can practice some degree of vairagya. So I'll give a very simple example. Maybe you have a habit of eating too many sweets.
Hmm.
Now you know that's not good for you, but you can't seem to control it. So that's where you need to bring some discipline, maybe some vairagya, some detachment, that you control yourself.
Hmm.
So that could be simple ways, but don't start thinking that I need to get detached from the world. Or, a lot of people have these notions, okay, now I'm spiritual, so I should not be ambitious, or I should not have desires, that kind of, or I should not get angry. That kind of thinking creates unnecessary conflict in the mind.
Hmm.
So, so I would say, rather than detachment, I would suggest discipline is more important. And when you bring discipline, then automatically some degree of detachment happens. So discipline wherever is needed.
Yeah. No, actually, Vairagya comes under chapter 1, no, which is for highest category students, which is supposed to be in a very high level.
Yeah, but Vairagya can be at various levels also. So Vairagya could be as simple as giving up on some sensory pleasures.
Hmm.
That could be a sense of Vairagya. When you practice tapasya, when you do tap, there also you're bringing Vairagya.
Hmm.
So any kind of discipline means you need to have some degree of Vairagya, some degree of letting go of some comfort, some pleasure. So that's how I would see it.
Okay, great. Questions or no? No question, everything is clear. Okay, more sutras. We should comment, or we can go maybe around chapter 3, around meditation. which can help also the audience or the people watching this Instagram live later?
Yeah. So, so from a yoga perspective, when yoga talks of meditation, it essentially comes under dharana, dhyan, samadhi. So dharana is concentration, dhyan is meditation, and then samadhi is where you become into one pure consciousness. So, so when your concentration becomes seamless and flowing, then that's called dhyan. But of course, now meditation is a very commonly used word for um, uh, mindfulness. So, but if I were to talk about meditation in a very common, practical manner, then what I would really say about meditation is learning to. So there's one question which is coming.
Yeah.
Once you outgrow things, is it same as building vairagya towards those things? Okay, we'll talk about that. So, so I would say meditation is nothing but mindfulness, where you are practicing mindfulness. It's like when you go to the gym. Okay, now every day you are lifting weights, which means you're building muscle, you're building strength. And then when you go about your daily life, you can lift heavy weights because you've been going to the gym every day. So
Exactly.
meditation is like gym for the mind, which means you're taking some time out to be mindful, which is just watch your breath, maybe watch the sound, watch the sensation, learning to control your body, be in the moment. And when you do that day after day, it's like then you that mindfulness begins to spill into different areas of your life.
Exactly.
So, meditation is maybe taking time out to be mindful. That's what I would say, in a disciplined manner. So that's my simple.
Yeah. Actually, because Ajay, if we go to the dharana, which is the first step, which would be concentration, we go to the to the particular sutra, which would be Desa Bandha Chitta Siddharna, which is, says if you attach the mind to a certain point as a certain area, then you are practicing dharana. Which techniques you think it would be helpful for people who want to start practicing meditation, who want to start going into that dharana, into that first step?
So I think if you really ask me, the most easiest thing to focus on is your breath, because it's going on all the time. You can focus on your breath at any point of time you want. That's the most easiest thing to work with. The second is maybe some people I have seen find it easier to concentrate or focus on the sounds. So you're just noticing whatever are the sounds. So some people find that much easier. The third thing that you can focus on is the sensations in your body. Now, there's a whole meditation practice. The Buddhist practice is around just observing the sensations in the body and noticing the impermanence of the whole of life. So you can either watch your breath, you can observe the sounds, you can just experience the sensations. You can also focus on maybe they say that if you have a personal god, an idol, you can just focus on that. You can focus on a mantra. You can repeat that mantra, as that's another form of what you can focus and concentrate on. So there are different elements that you can work with. See what I would suggest. See what comes easily and naturally to you, and that's good to work with, rather than trying to force. Don't try to force yourself. Try to be easy. So it's like a dance between the father's energy and the mother's energy. The father's energy is very hard, disciplined. Okay, you have to do it. The mother's energy is soft, nurturing, kind. You need to be both a father and a mother to yourself. So when you feel you are very soft on yourself, then bring a little father's energy. And when you're too hard on yourself, bring a little bit of mother's energy. So have that balance.
Yeah. So now they are asking, Sveta is asking, also as you outgrow certain things, doesn't it become difficult to feel involved and interested in things around in general? Good question, difficult one.
Yeah, if you outgrow certain things, then doesn't it become difficult to feel involved and interested in things around in general? So when you outgrow things, the first thing I will say, Shweta, is this question will not come. this, this question comes only because you have not outgrown things. So this is just a hypothetical intellectual question. When you really outgrow things, you then like the Buddha, he just outgrew and he left and he did his own thing. So so I think that's the first thing I would say. It's just natural, and outgrowing things doesn't mean that. Outgrowing thing also means you grow into something else. So if you ask me, I have outgrown being a chartered accountant, but I've grown into becoming a yoga teacher. Right? So it is not that you become a vegetable and you become like passive and now I've outgrown thing, I have no interest in life. On the contrary, you become all your scatterbrainedness goes away and you become very focused and you become very sharp towards a purpose or a goal you have in life. And that's what's my experiences. So I think you need to have passion towards some purpose, some goal. At the same time, you need to have your mindfulness practice, meditation practice that keeps you, I don't know, I'm not using the word detached, but keeps you objective. I think that's the right word. So be passionate, but yet be objective. Both are needed. Have willpower, but have faith. Now, these may seem like polarities, but they go hand in hand. So both are needed.
Thank you, Ajay. We have no much time, but we still have some time. We have like around 15 minutes, I guess, from live because it gets cut after 1 hour. So I wanted to ask you, since you are writing this book about 7 principles to uncover happiness, if you could give some principles, some hints to be happier, because I think it would be really nice to.
So I'll talk about the 7 principles. So name of the book is Be Present, Be Happy, and the present is an acronym for the 7 principles that I have. Not that I have devised these principles, but I've just collated them in terms of my own experience. So the present acronym stands for the 7 principles. So P stands for purpose. Very, very important to have purpose in life. If you don't have a purpose in life, then your life is very scattered. And that purpose should be in alignment with what you're interested in and what your talent is. Very, very, very important. It basically, when you get up in the morning, you need to look forward to something. If you don't have that reason to get up in the morning, then something is big is missing in your life. The second is recharge, which is R, which essentially is around developing healthy habits, simple habits around good eating, good sleeping, good exercise. It's like your body is like a machine. It needs to get recharged. A lot of us don't even follow the basics of healthy diet, healthy living, healthy lifestyle, right? So that's the other principle. The third principle is eliminate. We all have dysfunctional behavior. Now that dysfunctional behavior could be around maybe overeating, maybe oversleeping, maybe something or the other, some bad habits that we have. They're taking away, they're wasting our energy. So that we need to avoid, because it's like if you're recharging your body, but you're wasting your energy with all this dysfunctional behavior, or too much of social media, late at night watching Instagram live. That's maybe you should do it sometime, not always.
But it's not so late in India. It's what time is it? 9:25.
Around 9 o'clock, 9:15 or so.
9:15. It's not so late.
Yeah, as long as you're listening to Yoga Sutra, it's good. Eliminating habits which take away your energy. Then S is serve. Whatever. So at the end of the day, you will find meaning only when you do something for other people. If you're doing things only for yourself, then there is really no meaning in your life. So having that service mentality. Then express. Express is about learning to express emotions in an intelligent manner. Nobody teaches us how to deal with emotions, unfortunately. We go to school, we learn English, geography, mathematics, all kinds of subjects,
Exactly.
but nobody tells you how to deal with emotions.
And
So
it's
it's how to release emotions in a safe manner. Then N is nourish, how to nourish your mind, how to have inspiring thoughts, how to cultivate faith. So this needs to be consciously done. It's not something that will happen on its own. And the T is for transcend, which means meditation, which is learning to sit still for some time and just being present. So these are the 7 principles, which essentially come from yoga philosophy, from spirituality, but I've just put it in a manner which is simpler and easy to understand.
as usual.
Okay. There's an
Net
interesting
appreciation.
question by Neeta Prakash. She's asking how to figure out the core purpose of life when we have so many things to do as a hobby. Okay. So, how to figure the core purpose in life? Jose, you want to share something because you moved from being an engineer to doing something else. How
Yeah.
do you figure the core purpose of life?
Yeah, actually, when I moved from engineering to first modeling, I did it because it was my hobby, my passion. I said I have to follow my passion. Then I went into modeling. I did it in the
Yeah.
worst way because it was a little bit unplanned and everything. But I went there. Then in India, I discovered yoga. And then I was curious about yoga and it caught me. I fell in love and I kept going. But what I've understood from all this is that one thing is your desire or your dreams, and the other thing is your purpose. And sometimes it's not the same. Because the dreams is more something related to an egocentric point of view. What I'm enjoy doing, what I would like to do, what is my desire. But I think the sense of purpose comes from how can you help other people in
Yeah.
a way that it's aligned with your values and with your abilities and some things that come natural to you and you feel well doing because you can help other people doing things that you don't feel well doing.
Enjoy.
So that it wouldn't
Yeah.
be your purpose. But I think
Yeah.
when we ask for purpose, we have to look less to our belly and look more where can we help other people doing things that we really enjoy. That's what
So
I.
I think you have to move from your belly to your heart. You have to see what makes your heart joyful. And I often give like 3 things that can help you to find purpose. The first is what makes you lose a sense of time and space. When you're doing it, you're so enjoying it. You just love doing that. That's one. The second could be it comes very easily and naturally to you, which means that is your natural gift, that is your talent. And after doing that, you feel energized. So when these 3 factors are there, which means and you feel intensely alive,
Hmm.
that is what you need to take note of, because that is now for some people it may be painting, it could be writing. For me, it is teaching. Personal growth is my purpose. I'm very passionate about it. So you need to ask yourself, what makes my heart sing? And then you have to sing your song for other people. But first you need to find what your song is. So, and when you find your song, then life
Yeah.
transforms and changes. But a lot of people of us have financial responsibilities. So I would suggest at least take some step in the direction of your authenticity and your purpose.
Hmm.
So at least do something, maybe once a week, maybe alternate days or something. Do something which is meaningful for you.
Hmm.
Especially a lot of us who are in corporate jobs, which a lot of us don't find meaningful, right?
Yeah, but and actually, Ajay, it's one point I think it's important because it's something it comes natural to you, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't require effort and that you
Oh yeah.
will not have boredom moments and you will have like pure grinding and doing the boring stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
But it's
yeah.
just it's okay. But it's something that you can give good service with that, and also you feel good doing it. It doesn't mean you don't have to put a lot of effort.
True.
Yeah.
It's like finding out which mountain I want to climb.
Ah,
But climbing will be effort, but at least you're climbing the right mountain. You're not
exactly.
climbing somebody else's mountain.
Exactly.
And like
Exactly.
when I was climbing the mountain of being a chartered accountant, that was not my mountain,
Hmm.
but I was socially conditioned to do that.
Hmm.
Yes. Now what I'm doing is my mountain. It takes effort when I'm recording videos, when I'm editing videos, when I'm doing Instagram. All this takes effort, but at least it is something I love. It's something I enjoy. It's something I'm passionate about. Something that is meaningful to me. So,
Yeah.
so be you have to climb the mountain, but make sure it's your mountain. It's not somebody else's mountain you're climbing.
Actually, one thing
You don't have to-
I want to say, because we are running almost out of time, is anyone who wants to keep learning more about mindfulness and these topics, they can join your mindful living classes you are conducting right now.
Yeah, the first month we have just already started, so maybe next month we will see. So yeah, I'm conducting mindful living classes, which is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., which is online.
They can
So
direct message you to your Instagram account, right, Ajay Kalra?
yeah, yeah, they can message me, and yeah. So
One more.
there was one question about what
Yes.
is the second E. The
Yeah,
second
exactly.
E is
Exactly.
eliminate. No, express. So purpose, recharge, eliminate, serve, express. Express means emotions, learning to express emotions in a safe manner. Then nourish, then transcend.
Yes.
So it's when the effort becomes enjoyable, that means one is on the right path. The effort is meaningful, means even if you're putting effort, even if it is difficult, but it is meaningful for you. It is not something you're doing it like a corporate job because, okay, I'm sorry, okay, for those of you who are corporates,
No.
but it has to be meaningful for you. Whatever you're doing, hard work, difficult work, but meaningful for you. There are people who are serving the nation, who are up in the border, who are in difficult conditions. But why can they do it? Because it is of meaning, because they are serving the motherland.
Yeah.
So meaning is very important in your life. You need to have something which you believe in, something which you're passionate about.
Yeah, and you can find definitely meaning in a corporate job, but you have to find the right one, no? The right cause
Yeah.
you want to serve.
So see, basically, I'm not a big fan of the capitalist system because the capitalist system works not for meaning but for money. So we need to be practical. The corporations are not really interested in the individual meaning; they're really interested in corporate goals, which is to create more wealth. So it's the individual's responsibility to find meaning for his life. The corporation will not help you to get meaning in your life. At least that's been my experience.
Okay.
Unless you start your own, corporation and give other people a job.
Okay, last question before we say bye in the connection, because we have like I think 6 minutes.
Okay.
No.
Last question. Any questions? So there's can't wait to read your book, sir. Okay, I'm waiting for it to get published so you can read it soon.
Okay. Okay, I think we can say bye to our audience. We have almost 6 minutes, and Instagram cuts the hello Vicky just in time. The Instagram live is cut after at 60 minutes. So
Yeah.
Ajay, thank you so much for being here, for sharing this time with us. And it was like feeling again in your classes, which it's really amazing, and we really miss many times. And we will leave this live session in the profile in Insta IGTV. And for my side, that's it. Just to thank you and hope to see you in some other session, not very far. Hopefully soon.
Thanks, Jose. I think credit goes to you because I'm new to social media, but now I have when I take up something, I'm very, very disciplined. So now you will see YouTube, you will see Instagram,
and you learn very fast.
And I learn very fast. So for me, it's like a way to reach out to people. So I see this as a good medium to reach out to people.
Yeah.
So and thanks for taking the initiative to organize this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And hi, Deepa, also one of our favorite teachers. Also,
yeah, Deepa is there, and Victoria is there, Neeta is there, and Shweta is there. So all known people are there. So
Okay, so virtual hugs to everybody. Namaste.
Thanks for participating and thank you for your listening and look forward to seeing you in some other forum. Thank you. Goodbye. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.